Madison, Wisconsin is as good as it gets if you are like me and you love the college sports.
This is the Jump Around with Jim Rutledge and Pablo Iglesias, streaming live on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
Dancing down the sidelines. Can they catch him? No! The Badgers answer instantly. There will be no undefeated champion on Wisconsin with an unbelievable stretch drive to the championship game. Gordon again! Inside the 5, touchdown! What a performance by Melvin Gordon!
Chucky Hepburn, Big Ten on the line. Yes!
It's over. The Wisconsin Badgers win 17-9. They are the first Big Ten team ever to win successive Rose Bowl games.
That is the best college sports town in America.
And welcome into the Jump Around, a Badger-dedicated show here on the ESPN Madison and ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channels. I'm Jim Rutledge, alongside Riley Yauk with me in the Everlight Solar studio. We got Pablo Iglesias at home. He's being a good teammate, not feeling well, so he is doing the show live from his living room, I think, Pablo, right?
Yeah, live from the living room. Got the Jays, got the mural back here. Still have some holiday decorations, so don't worry, that's going to be coming down soon. But we always got some cheer going on in here either way over here at the Iglesias Bachelor Pad.
Are you going to throw up? Do you throw up Valentine's decorations?
We'll see. I don't know. Maybe we have Singles Awareness Day too. We got to make sure we keep some stuff in mind for those holidays. I'm not a decorate for every holiday type of person. But, yeah, I want to make sure that my apartment is not the X holiday looks like it threw up all over my spot, right? I know some people are like that, and it is what it is, to each their own, but I'm a big Christmas holiday decorator guy,
Pablo,
for sure.
So what decorations are you putting up for Singles Awareness Day?
And what the hell is Singles Awareness Day?
Isn't it the day that I think this was a How I Met Your Mother invention from Barney Stinson on either February 13th or something like that. I don't know what do you put up for Singles Awareness Day? That's
Nothing.
my question. I'll spin back on you
Men
guys.
have empty walls, so I would say you take all your
take
pictures.
down the Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Or leave
I'm just
Christmas
looking
lights
at
up because again, I think single men having Christmas lights up is definitely was a thing. Like when I was thinking, the only thing I had on my wall was Christmas lights.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
No, that's when you first think that interior decorating and all that. You're like, oh man, I'm gonna put up Christmas lights. It's gonna look super cool, and it's total college dorm type of feel. So that's where I feel it's not up all year round. Just like to have it a little bit extra. Those darker days in the holiday, but we're past that in the winter solstice. Get some extra light up in here.
All right, let's get into
a little bit.
I mean, is it like
I think so.
77? All right, let's get into the Badgers release their schedule, and we're going to play the schedule game. I will say we did this on the we did this on Jim, Matt, and Molly. It didn't go well. I think we had the Badgers winning 5 games. So, because we'll do the same thing here, I want it to be a consensus. So I want a jump around stance on what we think the Badgers record will be as we play the schedule game. All right?
Let's
do it.
All right, Riley, do you want to lead us, and then we'll all answer?
All right. Sounds like a plan. Let's first take a look at the Badgers schedule for all our viewers on YouTube. Here it is. Here is the official schedule that the Badgers released. Starting at Lambeau Field, a neutral site game against Notre Dame.
You don't have to finish talking. It's a loss.
Yeah, the Fighting Irish. Scheduled to be predicted to be a top 10, maybe top 5 team, depending on how the pollsters look at them, but more than likely not replicating the LSU upset from 2016, if I had to guess.
Yeah, they're not going to have the weather advantage, most likely, too. That Washington, obviously that helped a lot.
Yes, but different team. Everyone's a new team. That's why it's so hard to go through this.
It is, but I would be, to me, that's a lot to ask for week 1. Even if you believe in this team to pull off an upset over Notre Dame, probably a lot to ask.
I think if they're competitive, though, I think that bodes very well for the future with this schedule.
Okay, you can lump the next 2 together.
Yeah.
Western Illinois and Eastern Michigan, those are both dubs. Now we got the Badgers at 2.
Yep.
All righty. At Penn State.
At Penn State, it's just the Penn State Cyclones, Matt Campbell. I think this is the perfect time if you're going to spring an upset against one of these teams, Penn State, USC, Iowa. Those are probably the best teams they face outside of Notre Dame. This is the one you can get. It's just Iowa State's roster transferred over to Penn State, and you're catching them early before they can really get their feet underneath them. So I think this could be an upset opportunity.
I agree. It could be an upset opportunity. I'm not falling into that game again and playing the scheduled game, so I'm not picking it. If it was at home, maybe, but I guess, Pablo, you're the deciding vote here.
I like the optimism behind it. It's a new Penn State team, but Matt Campbell's Iowa State team was ranked to start the season. Yeah, they could also beat the Badgers. Like, this is like when we said, oh well, Indiana just brought over a bunch of James Madison guys, and that's all Kurt Signetti did. Well, that team could also probably still beat the Badgers based off of what we've seen the last couple seasons. So all I'm saying is, Badger fans, even when they're 2-2 at this point in the season, don't be disappointed like how we were against the week after Alabama. Yeah, is this team 2-1? What's happening?
No,
so I think
Maryland
2-2
was the embarrassment last year. So 2-2 right now, you're honestly feeling good, especially if you can hang with those games.
Yeah, if those are close games, you blow out Western Illinois and Eastern Michigan and don't have the annoying scrape-by victories, I think everyone's feeling pretty solid heading into Michigan State, a home game. Pat Fitzgerald coming to town.
Yeah.
And he always plays Wisconsin tough.
And I like Michigan State as far as being coached by. I'm not a fan. I just mean that Pat Fitzgerald, I think, is a good coach. I think that program can bounce back quickly. But this being at Camp Randall, this is a game that will give the benefit of the doubt to the Badgers. For me, I would give them a W.
I'm going with home advantage playing the key here. Yeah, when Wisconsin's always gone to Northwestern, and I've been there before. When Wisconsin has a tough time against these Pat Fitzgerald teams, it's usually because of the Northwestern effect. So I'm going to go with the Badgers on this one. New team, also with you on that one, Jim, with Fitzgerald's coaching style. But I think the Badgers could steal a dub from the Spartans.
Yeah, Michigan State was garbage last year. So if you don't get this one, no one's feeling good. That'd be the Maryland equivalent for last year. Then they have a bye week. Then they head to the Rose Bowl or potentially SoFi Stadium if UCLA can get that figured out to play at UCLA. I think that's another victory.
So to me, I don't see the Badgers beating UCLA and USC.
But USC is way better than UCLA.
But it's at home. So I'll give you UCLA, though. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I'm going at. If I was going to pick the Badgers. But I think the bye week, UCLA is very much a question mark. And I know that they have the kind of same blueprint as Indiana. But Indiana stands out because it was Indiana. It's a rare blueprint. I think UCLA made a good hire, and I think UCLA will look more functional than they have. But the Badgers coming off a bye, especially if they beat Michigan State going into that bye, I like winning at UCLA. And I think a lot of Badger fans, including myself, might travel out to that one.
I would not sleep on Bob Chesney, the head coach of UCLA. I was listening to some of my colleagues that I used to work with over in LA, and I think they make some good statements of, yes, he was with James Madison 24-25, but even before then, he is very much like Kurt Signetti, knows how to build those programs up from the Division II, from the Division III, all of those levels. So I would just say don't look past UCLA. But it's also a rebuilding program, though, too. So I would say loss for UCLA, USC at home. I think, I'm just going to stick with home advantage again because weird things can happen at Camp Randall that favors the Badgers.
All right, so Riley, where do you fall? I guess we'll lump those two together there. So I have the Badgers losing to USC and beating UCLA, so you're the deciding vote on both of those.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Come on, man.
Beating UCLA, and then you got a chance at a 3-game win streak coming home to USC. If they move it to a Friday, an extra day of rest, I think the Lincoln Riley teams have underperformed. Wisconsin gets the job done in both of those games against the California teams, avenging their last loss to the Trojans. Wisconsin wins both UCLA and home against USC.
So what does that have them on victories now? Is that 5?
Yep. So now they're 5-2. Only losses Notre Dame and Penn State. Heading into a Halloween matchup at Kinnick Stadium. which I don't like.
No, that's a loss.
No.
I cannot pick them to beat Iowa anymore. We can move back. Like, it's just not going to happen until they do it.
Until at least I just want to see them be competitive with Iowa again. Just match the physicality and get it back to where it was, where you're losing a 17-14 game rather than a 37-3 game. So
right there, that gets 5 wins, right?
Yep, 5 and
so
3.
I think we all can agree, and just correct me if I'm wrong so we can move on to the next one. Maryland, Purdue, Minnesota. I think if you want to be optimistic, they win all 3. I think realistically they win 2 out of those 3. So that's 7 or 8 wins right there.
Yep.
So, Pablo, do you think I know Riley's got them winning all 3 of those. So, Pablo, you're the decider on this one. It doesn't even matter which game. Do you have them winning all 3 of those games or 2 out of those 3 games between at Maryland, at Purdue, home Minnesota?
I think you see a clear path of winning all 3 of them. The simple thing is just do your job. There's no other way around it. We've seen this team and how they played to their competition, and sometimes we've seen them play above competition when we didn't expect them to. So just go in there, do your job. I think you're going to, hopefully, let's all keep our fingers crossed, that you know who you are well into this point into the season, and you get the job done. You end the season on a 3-game winning streak, and you're back into the bowling territory. And I'd say, too, for Iowa, real quick, Halloween, no matter what, it could be any time of the year. Kinnick Stadium's a tough place to play. I've been on those sidelines before, and they are on top of you. Halloween weekend's just going to get weird, and Iowa City's going to be all over these fans, and there's just going to be that type of electricity, that type of energy for the Hawkeye fans that I think it's just hard for any team to overcome.
All right, so that's 8 wins. I would go up to 7, but as a show, we will go with 8.
Yep, 8 and 4.
All right.
And I think that is what you have to be right now. Like, with the expanded Big Ten schedules, it's not going to get any easier for Wisconsin. This is the easiest schedule you could possibly get, probably, with how they split up the schedules. So if Fickell can't get 8 wins this year, I don't think he's ever going to get 8 wins at Wisconsin. This has to be the year to turn it around. I think they will, but you got to do it.
Do you fire him if he gets less than 8?
If 7, I keep him, but I'm not happy. 6, he's got to go. You can't. With this schedule, you cannot get less than 7 wins.
I agree. All right.
I have from the private talking text line real quick, Chris and Lodi. Wisconsin's 12 regular season opponents finished with a combined record of 69 and 79 last season. 7 of the opponents were under 500 last year, too. So I'm with Riley on that one. You got to make sure, again, like I said, do your job, take care of business, and it's not even collect or string as many wins together, but get those 8 dubs, man. It's right there for you for the taking.
All right, let's talk about Badger hoops. Coming off of kind of a bad loss to USC, the Badgers are able to pull out what could have been an ugly loss at home to Minnesota. John Blackwell, the star of the game. Nobody played well against Minnesota, but you can look at this, and this is going to shock you guys, that being down 20 and still winning the game can be a sign of concern, or it can be you can look at a glass half full, and the Badgers were able to pull that game out. That's why I'm looking at it. I think this Badger team, you're going to have clunkers. These are still college kids. It's still just weird. The fact that they were able to pull out of a clunker and move it towards the direction of winning that game, to me, tells me that this Badger team will get seeded high enough to set themselves up, and they're going to be a Sweet 16 team. That's the standard I've set for Badger hoops under Greg Gard. He hasn't really met it. And so I think he can. I think this team can. I think this is honestly a better basketball team than they had last year. So as far as depth and better assembled. So I think this team, despite falling behind to Minnesota, the fact that they came back and won when nobody looked like they were playing their best ball, to me tells me that this Badger team is still a Sweet 16 caliber team, and that's the expectation I have from them.
Jim, what makes you say that this year's team is a better team objectively than last year's team, despite with how they played thus far?
Well, I mean, beating Michigan's a pretty big feather in the cap. Mm-hmm. I think last year's team, like most Badger teams, they peak early. And this year's team, I think they are finding their stride later in the year. And I think this team is deeper. And they're not as reliant on last year was Tanjay. This year you have Blackwell, you have Boyd, and you have Winter who can all score. Rapp can score a little bit. Rhodey. So you have other guys that you can count on to put the ball on the floor and score. And Boyd, as a true point guard, which Blackwell was not last year, takes a lot of the responsibility. So even if Blackwell's the one that needs to be scoring all the points, Boyd setting him up and taking the ball out of his hands so he doesn't have to be the number one ball handler and the scorer, I think just sets this team up to be a better run team because they have Nick Boyd, a true point guard. So that's part of it, and I like some of their depth pieces as well. But I think this team is just took a little longer to get their feet underneath them. But now that their feet are underneath them, I think they're going to look. There's not gonna, every game's not going to be perfect, but I think they're going to be a team that's going to end up getting over that 20-win mark and being a Sweet 16 team.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I just can't help but look at how last night went. Granted, yeah, it's awesome when you pull out when your opponent has an 89% chance of winning at halftime, and you're down by a pretty solid margin, and then you come back and win this one by 4 on your home court. I think it's good, but I said this earlier to you guys is that I don't know if I could bet in this very moment that this team is going to be a Sweet 16 team, but yet I do agree, Jim, that this team did come in. I think they were significantly better than last season's team because they weren't just this one-dimensional, and I don't want to call him a one-trick pony just because of the emergence of John Tonje. It was awesome to see him take off at that level, but I do feel like that this team is a lot more well-rounded. It's just, unfortunately, the inconsistencies of in the post. I think that's really where things have hurt them this season is that not lack of depth, but, you just don't really see that toughness, I guess, if you will, down low in the post. I want to see guys play big boy basketball down low in the post. This is a new era of basketball in general, but that's what I want to see. Who could be the hero down low? Who could get the gritty rebounds? Who could fight down low? Because that's where, if you play a game like yesterday in the tournament, you're going to get bounced. There's no other question. You can't play against a team that's 500 and kind of go back and forth and then end up scrounging out a lead, even though, hey, it's the stars that emerge in the second half. But, I'm not saying it's all gas, no brakes, but you got to find some consistency. And I don't know if I've truly seen that outside of the 6-game win streak, which, hey, credit to them, hats off to that. That's where I stand right now with the men's basketball team. I think they can do it. I just want to see now throughout the rest of this month and a half before postseason play rolls around, can they show that they could do it consistently? That's what I really want to see from these guys.
Yeah, this team just confuses me personally. Like, I love the resilience they showed last night. I love that they were able to claw back from a 20-point deficit and beat Minnesota. But why are you getting down 20 to Minnesota in the first place? And like Austin Rapp has 3 wide open threes in a row and bricks every single one, then turns the ball over. Like, you're right, Pablo. We don't really have any big men, which is frustrating. Nolan Winter feels like a true 4. And that they need a good 5. So I don't know. Personally, I think the resilience will carry them because they have shown at their ceiling they can beat the best teams in basketball. But at their worst, they're awful. It's a terrible team. So I think their ceiling is the Sweet 16, and I'm really not convinced yet that they're going to make it there given the past few years of the lack of tournament success.
All right, let's talk about the Senior Bowl Badgers.
This is a little more encouraging.
The Badgers have 6 players in senior showcase games, Mason Rieger, Austin Brown, Riley Mahlman, and Lance Mason. And American Bowl features Hallman, and Panini Senior Bowl features Vinny Anthony. So I'll start with this. Which one of those guys do you think will have the best NFL career out of those 6 players? I'll go first, and I'll just go with the easy one. I'm always just going to pick the lineman, so I'll go with Riley Mahlman. I do like some of the guys' chances. Vinny Anthony, like receivers have done more with less college careers, and I have to see what his numbers will end up being. But if he is a little spark plug and fast, he could be someone that could do it. Hallman, he could be a guy that hangs around on special teams and has a nice career. Maybe he's a little better than I think, but if I'm betting, I'm just going to bet lineman for the Badgers.
If I like the idea of Mason Rieger being the dark horse out of this group. I think Riley Mahlman is a good case because offensive lineman. You can make a case for anybody is why you need this position player, for this specific reason. But I think it's hard to find an edge rusher these days. And from what I've seen, just through a quick just through a quick search is that Mason Reiger suddenly is starting to pop up in dark horse conversations of why X team should draft this guy in the late rounds or why you should consider him as a UDFA, which, I mean, again, I knew that he had some special talent coming in. He missed the previous season because of an injury at Louisville. There was a decent amount of hype behind him. But I got to go with Mason Reiger because, again, when you think of the gold that you look for in the draft or when you're picking up new guys is that edge rusher. And the fact that you come away with MVP honors and you're turning heads like that, yeah, when you come from Wisconsin, it's a big deal. But also, yeah, I love the idea of what he could potentially provide and be that spark plug from somebody off the line and just the physicality, the energy that he brings. I wish we could have had more years with him at Wisconsin based off of what he could do. But, yeah, if I'm picking anyone out of that bunch to have the best career, I think Mason Reiger really surprised me in the best ways.
Yeah, Mason Reiger was the East-West Shrine Bowl MVP for the defense with 4 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble. Like both of those picks, I'm actually going to go with Lance Mason. He really came on the end of his career at the back half of the season for the Badgers, spent 4 years at Missouri State, was able to make the jump to the Big Ten. I think he'll be able to make the jump to the NFL too. I'm really excited to see what he does. He's a great receiving threat. He can block. He's fun to watch and a good guy to talk to. So I'm rooting for Lance Mason, Vinny Anthony as well. Love Vinny. Hope he does well. But I think tight end, I think that's a good spot for the Badgers to thrive in. And I think Lance Mason has the tools, the abilities to succeed at the next level.
All right, let's get to our clip of the week.
Around these parts, there's only time for the best of the Badgers.
We don't know exactly where we are right now.
Why don't you own the Wisconsin football team?
We need to play better significantly.
They're spoiled rotten. This is the clip of the week on the Jump Around.
Go someplace else. Go boo in a bar.
Yeah, it is the clip of the week. And speaking of the NFL, I have one of the NFL's most prominent former Badgers, J.J. Watt, on the Pat McAfee Show, speaking on an egregious happening in the National Football League's Hall of Fame recently.
Yeah, no, there, like you just said, there are literally like 2-3 people in history that are absolute no-brainer locks whatsoever, Bill and Tom being 2 of those. And I saw something where one of the voters was like, why should the votes be released? What are you going to do? Because you shouldn't have a vote. If you have Bill Belichick not making the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you should not have a vote for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The guy has 8 Super Bowl titles. There's only been 59 of them. He's got 8 rings from 59. Like, what are you doing? What qualifications do you want? How do you tell the story of the NFL without Bill Belichick? Yeah, if you didn't have him on your ballot, and I get this whole, like, well, there was 3 spots and you can only put, like, I don't care. If there's only 3 spots, Bill Belichick is spot number 1. Point blank, period. You figure out who fits in the other 2. No other matter should happen. He is in the Hall of Fame, first ballot, no matter what. The guy beat me left, right, and center multiple times. I should have every reason to hate him. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer without question.
All right, do you guys agree with J.J. Watt on Bill Belichick's Hall of Fame non-induction?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that seems even close, but it's not as egregious, is how long it took Bo Ryan to get into the College Basketball Hall of Fame. That didn't make any sense at all. So that one is on par, and it took longer. But, yeah, Belichick being in the Hall of Fame is a no-brainer.
Yeah, I'm with this too. What else does he need to do? Does he need to stand on his head? Does he have to do handstands? Does he have to ride a unicycle or do what Red Panda does at the NBA halftime games? I mean, come on. Like, the amount of Super Bowls that he's got behind. I'm with JJ. I'm with Jim. I think we're all in agreement here that how is Belichick not a first ballot Hall of Famer? I applaud too. I believe it was the Football Hall of Fame board that said anybody could be removed. Any of the voters could be removed if they're found. I don't know if collusion or whatever the case is. If they're basically voting unethically, which I don't want to get too much into that speculation. It kind of feels like that. What is this a back and forth of just people just don't like him or whatever the case is, but how can you throw out what he's done, and not believe that he is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think it's just brutal. Like, how is just genuinely the question for me.
All right, let's get to the Twitter portal.
It's time for the Badgers Twitter portal.
Yeah, it is time to enter the Badgers Twitter portal. And I have some fun ones today. I was looking forward to these. So I was digging in some other universities' Twitter fan bases, and let's start with our friends down in Iowa. This was responding to a quote tweet of our guy Mason Posa from his appearance on our show when he claimed that the Badgers could make the college football playoff this year. Max Edwards, an Iowa fan, lol, is this AI? That kid is in for a rude awakening. 6-win team, maybe. And then Sturt's season, they are turning into Nebraska. Jim, I'll start with you. Number one, are Badgers fans delusional to think that they could make the playoff this year? And two, are we turning into Nebraska fans that constantly think we should be competing in the upper echelon of college athletics while continually failing?
Yes and no. I don't think there's a lot of fans that think the Badgers have a shot at the playoff. I think that 8-win is a high water mark that we went through earlier with the schedule game. And I think that's where most Badger fans live. Now on Twitter it's different, but most people that I talk to day to day are living in that let's just make a bowl game world. And yeah, there's bravado and all that on social media. But I think in general, the consensus Badger fan just says let's just make a bowl. So that would not, obviously, then that would preclude us from being the Nebraska. Now, Nebraska, honestly, at this point, do Nebraska fans even think that they're what Nebraska? It's been a long, like Tommy Frazier probably was the last time, and I don't think either one of you know who he is.
I know who Tommy Frazier is. I couldn't name a single other, but pre-Bo Pelini coach for Nebraska.
Well, and Tommy Frazier wasn't a coach, but he was a quarterback for the team.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, he was a
Tommy Osborne. That's who I was thinking.
Tom Osborne. Yes. Yes. That's Tommy Frazier was like when they ran the wishbone. And I think the last time that they were relevant as a national team. A heck of a quarterback. I mean, not a pro, but heck of a college quarterback. So, yeah, we're not quite there yet.
Okay, good. Pablo?
No, I mean, I think it's, if anything, we're all defending Mason here, too. If there's anybody who has the playoff aspirations, you'd hope that it's the players, and you'd hope that it's the coach that aren't afraid to put it out there. But, no, man, I'm just feeling like, you know what, Wisconsin could, why not shoot for the stars? I would rather Wisconsin just be put out on a platter for trying to make a bold statement like that versus just be like, you know what, it is what it is. We're just going to throw in the towel before we even kick off because we never know. You never know how unpredictable college football is. So why not live in the little Delulu? I'm down for that. That's my world. I like to have some fun with it. Let's put the risk out there. Put it. You can't. Scared money don't make money, man. Put it out there.
Exactly. Scared money don't make money. Our friend Nick Osen is ready to go, so I will have one more for you real quick. The Badgers, with their comeback victory last night, have taken 11 straight over the Minnesota Golden Gophers. In your guys' mind, I think Minnesota's the most satisfying team to beat in football, but in basketball, who is the team that when Wisconsin plays them, they need to beat them?
Michigan State. Doesn't happen often, but I would go Michigan State.
Pablo?
I'd be a tie between Michigan State or Purdue, and I've seen both of these teams have some pretty sound wins on the road in environments where it is not easy to do that. Johnny Davis, I think, had the 51 jersey or something like that when they went over to the Breslin Center, and they were able to pull off that upset. Or I don't even know if it was an upset, but it was a sick win for Wisconsin. So I'd say it's a tie between Michigan State and Purdue.
McCaffrey's out of Iowa, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Iowa would have been on there, but I thought McCaffrey's gone. So
okay.
He sucks.
It's those wins are fun when it's at the Kohl Center because the student section just is on another level when McCaffrey is there. So I'll give him that.
Yeah, for me, either Purdue or Michigan. I love beating Michigan in basketball. It's so satisfying. But probably Purdue since they've been so good. And they always have some giant European center who's really annoying and foul-bait. Zach Edey, I hate him. For me, it's Purdue. But that's it for the Twitter portal.
All right, President's Day is here, and Steinhoffels is celebrating big right now. Save at least 10% off store-wide on furniture you've been waiting for. And it gets better. Spend over $4,999, and Steinhafels gives you a 65-inch 4K smart TV. Plus, test rest a Beauty Rest Black mattress for your chance to win a dream vacation to Hawaii. Yes, Hawaii. It's the President's Day sale at Steinhafels. Shop in-store or online at steinhafels.com. As we talked about it, we had a guest coming up next.
Good evening, America. I'm Abe Lincoln with breaking news from Steinhafels.
And I'm George Washington, and I cannot tell a lie. Steinhafels' President's Day sale is amazing.
You'll save hundreds on all the best brands of furniture.
And if you want to upgrade your sleep, the mattress deals are revolutionary. You won't need a powdered wig to feel like royalty.
Plus, enjoy 60 months financing. That's 5 years of comfort. So, get into Steinhafels today before this sale is history.
All right, we are excited to be joined by Nick Osen. And Nick, thanks for of 24/7 Sports. Nick, thanks for hopping on with us. All right, we can't hear Nick right now, so hopefully.
No.
What? I think we just heard him now. Nick, do you hear us? No, still not hearing Nick. All right, so we'll figure that out in a second. But we're bringing Nick on to talk about recruiting and kind of talk about, I know there was junior recruiting day coming up, and I want to maybe get his thoughts on the players that Badger fans, not just from the high school level, but also just out of the portal side of things, that Badger fans can notice and be excited about. But we're still not hearing them there. So we will continue to work on that, Pablo. But when we look at this Badger team and the transfer portal, and I'll say this to Nick whenever we are able to get him rolling here, is that I need to actually see the players do something on the field before I'm going to buy any of the hype. So right now, the only players on this football team that I'm believing in are people like Cooper Catalano, Mason Posa, Darian Dupree, like the guys who have done something that are coming back. That's who I believe in.
Yeah, what I was listening to an interview with Eric Mateos earlier this morning, actually, and I love the idea of, you feel like that this should be a simple thing or this should be a confirmed thing, but in terms of how he recruits offensive linemen and what coaches typically do is not just, all right, we could watch the tape and they go to Eric Mateos and like, do we think this is a good guy? He's like, no. Everybody in that building knows if this person can play football, if this guy is a good football guy, but it's more of the X's and O's of, does this guy like football? Which is a wild first question to think about, but he talked about like how, yeah, like that, those are the things that you think about. And also I love the idea of Mateos too, bringing in the cold weather and how it's challenged him. And he's like, this reminds me, yeah, I'm built for this. I'm built to be around this area. It challenges me to be a tougher guy, and it challenges me to know that, yeah, I belong in these trenches, and I'm going to coach these guys. So I know we look at all the position players and everything, but I really want to see how this offensive line shapes out, because not only is there a good amount of hype from what he did at Arkansas, but also just in general, that offensive line, when it's clicking, Jim, you and I know from our football teams that we root for as well outside of college, that an offensive line is key. And if you have an offensive line that is clicking, you are in for a good surprise down the road.
Yeah, that is. I think Riley's still working on everything there. Or
I think we're good to go.
Okay.
I believe. Okay. Nick, can you try talking again? On our end, it's looking good. No, we're still not hearing you.
Okay. All right. So you guys can work on that one more time. The offensive line, you're right, and it is. They've added some players on that offensive line as well, and it is a key for whoever's going to be quarterbacking this team. I'm assuming it's going to be Colton Joseph. But even for the running game and for what Jeff Grimes wants to do, the offensive line needs to continue to improve. I think it took a nice step forward, but it continues to need to climb forward.
Well, do you think it's not going to be Colton Joseph? I mean, I think based off of the parade, even though Deuce Adams, it took him a second to sign the contract. I mean, let me ask you that. Do you feel like, are you holding out, not hope, but do you not feel like it's a 100% chance, barring injury and all that it's not going to be Colton Joseph
I mean, it's like 90%
come the fall?
chance.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, 90%. I mean, Carter Smith's still on the team, so, I mean, maybe he all of a sudden appears on, like, develops the ability to throw the forward pass. I'm 90% there. I don't want to say for sure.
What a groundbreaking thing if he is able to develop the forward pass.
Yes, that would be pretty wild for them to be able to develop the forward pass.
Yeah.
Right. Do we still working?
Yes, we are still working on it. I just sent a new call to our friend Nick, and he is hopping on now. So if this doesn't work, he's hearing you guys just fine.
He's enjoying the show? That's good.
Yeah, so I know he's getting
maybe he could
what we're doing thus far. So hopefully we can bring him in to the fold here very shortly. So we are working our darndest back here behind the scenes.
Well, I know you're working behind the scenes here, but can you tell me why you have corn on your Wisconsin shirt?
Yes, so this is actually due to...
You can see it, obviously, on the stream here.
I am a current partner now with Wisconsin Design Team. Fantastic company. They have an in-person location on State Street, or you can find them on WisconsinDesignTeam.com. Gave me a couple items to show off, post on social media, and I decided to go with the corn tee. Pretty sure Melvin Gordon's worn this before as a pregame fit. I just like it. It's sick. Their stuff, very high quality, looks good. It's unique. For other fans, like, you know me, Jim, I have a ton of Badgers-related stuff and gear, so it's nice to find some unique items and pieces to switch it up from time to time, and Wisconsin Design Team is fantastic for that. So let's try Nick one last time. Nick, he's on the new call. It should be up according to our settings here. So, Nick, can you hear us? Nope, that's the old call. But he's on the new call, trust me.
Fantastic.
Looking great, Nick.
You guys got me okay?
Hey, there we go.
We did it.
All right.
Resilience, baby.
Unfortunately, that's all our time. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah. So, Nick, what I want to ask you to kind of start is with the portal guys. I don't know, maybe 3 names that the Badgers have added that you're pretty confident will get some playing time this year, because we want to make this as top layer as possible for our fans. That it's hard to follow along with recruiting now. It's hard to follow along with the portal, who's coming back year over year. So who are like the top 3 names that have come through in the portal that you think will get significant playing time this year? All right. Well, I think I don't know what's going on here. That's weird. So you started to talk and you're gone again. So Riley is completely baffled
stupefied.
On that. Yeah.
Bamboozled. I've touched nothing back here except visually, and I don't understand. We heard you say, "Can you guys hear me?" and now it's gone again.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated.
Yeah, I could tell that. You know what? I think sometimes we just gotta figure out and probably take the L. Maybe we can figure out and get Nick on next week. I know we are going to be talking with Riley Nowakowski next week, but maybe we can do a double guest one next week, because technical difficulties are no fun.
No, they're certainly not. I apologize, Nick. We will figure this out and get you on at some other time if we can't hear you. Can you try just one more time to talk, see if we got you? No.
Alrighty. The weather is conspiring. I'm going to blame the weather.
Yeah.
Conspiring against us today.
Disappointing ending.
For Riley, Nick, thank you so much. We'll get you next week. And for Pablo Iglesias, I am Jim Rutledge. This has been the Jump Around, a Badger dedicated show live on the ESPN Madison and ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channels.